Dan Bumpus on the mic. He'll start Countdown to Tip-Off for you.
Bringing you all the way up to game time. Countdown to Tip-Off starts now.
Hello and welcome inside the WAER studios. This is Countdown to Tip-Off, brought to you in part by Pepsi. I'm your host, Dan Bumpus. The Orange and Pit coming at you from the Peterson Events Center in about 20 minutes or so. Now, SU.
Well, when I was interested in coming here, I heard about AER and the alumni, Tarico, Costas, all of them, and how, I mean, there's just great opportunities here, and how if I wanted to do anything with sports broadcasting, which I do, that WAER was the place to be.
Syracuse has been a pioneer in communications. When I was there, WAER was a little 2.5 watt FM station. And we like to think that the signal went up to the top of the tower and then fell down. Reached the sorority houses, and that was a blessing.
Lifetime, it's one of the most important bastions of my background, of my growth, whatever growth there is, of my strength, whatever strength there is, of my ambitions, such as they are. Syracuse provided me with all the things that have happened to me. AER, in those early days, to Professor Kenneth Bartlett, who was the head of the communications school, or communications course at that time. He was the course. He had no other assistants that I knew of. He had one large room in the basement of the library, and we met there regularly, and we broadcast from there. And I learned some of the fundamentals of broadcasting at Syracuse.
Invaluable to me is that it gave me an opportunity to work at a functioning radio station and to make the kinds of mistakes that young people inevitably have to make without it causing any lifelong scars or without it doing any extraordinary damage to anybody else. I became the program director of WAER and had a staff of about 200 people working for me when I was 19 years old. I couldn't have done that anywhere else, and I must say I think it helped me enormously in the years to come.
I started as a freshman, and the way it works is you have to write one update a week at 5:30 in the morning. The first semester you get critiqued. Most times you get ripped apart because, I mean, let's face it, we're all pretty bad when we start out. And then you get moved to afternoons. You write once a week until you get cleared to desk. Once you're on desk, then you're writing 3 times in the morning, and then you get critiqued. You have to come in for all the game broadcasts, go to all the meetings. It's pretty much like pledging a frat or a sorority. And then after that, you get cleared to staff. You're doing morning updates, 5:30, waking up in 6:30, 7:30, 8:30 updates once a week, and then you're getting assignments for game broadcasts. I can't even explain it. I mean, without WAER, I'm nowhere right now, because this place has taught me how to write, taught me how to speak, taught me how to be a broadcaster, a reporter, a fair person when doing stories, calling games.
Oh, WAER was big. It was in the little Quonset hut then, opposite the old gym and at the foot of the steps that led up to Mount Olympus. And I spent every spare moment I could there, either on the air or just being around like-minded kids who shared my interest in broadcasting, and we'd all pretend to be Marv Albert, or we'd pretend to be, Ted Koppel or whomever, and we were very silly and we were very vain probably, but we were learning something, if only by osmosis.
WAER was an amazing place for having all the resources, the ability to cover big-time college sports, the ability to do news, and to know that not just the campus community, but the entire Syracuse community listened to the radio station. So even though you were in school at a college radio station, you were on a station heard throughout a significant-sized city. That experience was so invaluable. A funny quick story. Larry King used to write a USA Today column.
Live from Washington, D.C., it's the Larry King Show. Here again, Larry King.
Thank you, Paul. Since our young men from Syracuse University came up to watch this program tonight, and they are all majors in broadcast journalism, we thought we'd spend a couple of moments with them. They're here for the Syracuse-Georgetown basketball game Saturday afternoon at the Cap Center. Syracuse, I believe, leads the Big East at the current moment. Right. Charlie Palillo, Dan Roach, Mike Tirico, and Bill Roth. Have you got a chance to broadcast sports events and everything?
Yes, we do. At the station that I work at, WAER, we do football, basketball, and lacrosse play-by-play.
That's the school station.
Yes.
Is it? Is it on campus?
Yes.
Lacrosse still big there. Jimmy Brown was a great lacrosse star.
Very good.
You look like Alan Thicke. Have people told you that?
Once in a while, like at this time, usually in the thick of the night.
Mike Tirico is a
Right.
junior. Where's home?
Queens, New York, about 5 minutes from Shea Stadium.
You want to be a sports broadcaster too?
Yeah, I grew up in that same mold and bought Marv Albert's book, Yes. Read the book, looked in the back. Marv went to Syracuse. I followed.
How many professional sports broadcasters on the air in America went to Syracuse?
Ooh.
Do we know? Is there? I mean, there are really that are
There
working.
are
in
some
sport.
great ones. Hank Greenwald, who was in San Francisco and is now in New York, I guess, with the Yankees, and
Costas, Albert,
Bob,
Stockton,
Len Berman.
Andy Musser with the Phillies.
Andy Musser, correct? Wow.
And there are John Gervich from the 76ers. There are some guys who've just gotten out of school and are kicking around.
Alumni are probably one of the more important components of AER. We have such a tremendous alumni base here, and especially with the sports department. Anyone who's anyone in the sports broadcasting field has come somewhere through Syracuse or through WAER, and many of them are willing to come back and talk to us and give us their emails and their phone numbers and spend time talking to us about the business and what we're about to get into and advice that they might have. And one particular alumni actually spent an hour and a half on the phone with me a couple of weeks ago, sitting talking to me, and he was just as interested in my life and where I wanted to go as I was as interested about hearing about him. And that was really important to me, and I think it's that way for anybody who works at the station and for all the alumni to know, is that when you just a couple of minutes, that amount of time for us is like it's years and years worth of time. It's incredible for us to get to be able to talk to people who are where we want to be, and they started where we are, so we know that we're somewhere along the right path to be able to get there. I don't know what my future career would be if I didn't have WAER. I just know I would not be graduating with the passion that I have and with the experience that I have without it. I am graduating with the experience of having hosted games, having broadcasted games, having engineered and produced and made stories and interviewed people and done countless things on air, off the air, whatever it was to further my career, and I know that my career would be nowhere near the right shape or in the right direction that it needs to be for when I graduate college if it wasn't for this.